Hey guys, Tony Wilson here from Dorkly, and man, I got a stack of information this high that I'm gonna shove into your cool ass brains right now. It's Today in Nerd History.
Today in Nerd History!
February of 2010 saw the reopening of one of Disneyland's strangest attractions, Captain EO, a 3D space musical starring Michael Jackson that was directed by Francis Ford Coppola of The Godfather and produced by famous toy creator George Lucas. The movie cost more per minute than any movie up to that point. Despite being terrifying, nonsensical nightmare fuel, the film ran for 10 years and gained a serious cult following. And following the death of Michael Jackson, it was reopened. Most Disney attractions that shut down, however, shut down for good. So let's take a look at the strangest closed attractions at Disney theme parks. I point a lot because I am emphatic. Jessica's of Hollywood. The Disney World Park Pleasure Island was based around the idea of pleasing adults. And what's the best way to please an adult? Pleasing their privates with sexy lingerie, of course. Jessica's of Hollywood, a take on the famous lingerie store Frederick's of Hollywood, was an all Jessica Rabbit themed store which managed to take an already overtly sexual character and just blast it into a whole new realm. It's a good thing this section of the park was adults only because it specialized in, and I quote, see-through red lingerie, which would have just meant all-out war on the privates of already confused children. The Pack Mules. Disneyland is known for its high-tech, often innovative rides, but in the 1950s they weren't above the low-tech approach. Take, for instance, Pack Mules, a ride which consisted of, yes, you've got it, pack mules. The Disney Frontierland experience used to consist of riding around surly animals who would occasionally drop a hot one onto the sand of the tiny western backdrop. The ride was expanded twice, but even changing the name to Rainbow Pack Mules didn't fool anyone into thinking the ride was actually fun. The ride was finally closed in 1973 when they realized the only thing that would be less appealing would be a ride called Drug Mules, in which you take a condom filled with cocaine and put it into your butt. The Making of Me. What are any kid's two favorite things? If you guessed Martin Short and having the sex talk, you're wrong, but you would have guessed the content of Disneyland's The Making of Me. This surprisingly graphic 15-minute film featured a spectral, time-traveling Martin Short watching his parents date, marry, and eventually conceive him as if it weren't the most creepy, perverse thing imaginable. While the film does an admirable job of explaining conception in a way that's both fun and interesting for children, there's something that's undeniably wrong about Martin Short watching his baby self slither out of his mother's nether regions. The Making of Me ran for years at the Wonders of Life Pavilion until Disney just quietly swept it under the rug. First, the pavilion was open full-time and then only during select times, and by 2006, Disney had removed it from the website and from the park's maps until it finally just vanished in a cloud of smoke like a cartoon sperm hitting an egg. The Golden Girls house. When Walt Disney said, "What will send people screaming through the turnstiles, put butts in seats, and make us all the money?" someone in the room literally must have said, "Let's rebuild the exterior of the house from the geriatric sitcom, The Golden Girls." What's crazier is that somebody then said yes to that. And then what's crazier than that? They upped the ante and also built the exterior of the house to the Golden Girls spin-off show, Empty Nest. In 2003, when they realized that the only people who would run screaming through the turnstiles would break a hip in the process, they replaced it with something just as wholesome. Superstar Limo. The crown of how did this get made goes to Superstar Limo. This California adventure-based dark ride barely made it 11 months, but it was amazing that it ever existed to begin with. The ride is too eerie to be wholesome, it's too dire to be comedic. The entire thing comes off like this neon blacklight fever dream in which a photographer gets electrocuted by power lines, the whole city is basically burning down, and a scuba diver basically has sex with a shark. There's a rumor the ride may have originally been framed around a paparazzi chase, but it might have been neutered after the untimely death of Princess Diana. That still doesn't excuse Hellvision Regis Philbin creeping on you from behind this door, or Satan Whoopi Goldberg, or whatever this shit is.
I repeat, don't be late. Kiss, kiss.
Look guys, Disneyland might be the happiest place on earth, but only because it's left a trail of bones and shattered dreams in its wake.